Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aaron and I read fantasy. Today's video is the Kindle Unlimited Romantasy recommendations. Starting with Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. In Spark of the Everflame, we are following DM, who is a healer in the Mortal District. DM's storyline starts off with her mother, who is missing. Her mother was a healer in the royal palace of the Descendants. The Descendants are the children of a god and their human lover, and they rule over the kingdom. DM's mother is also a healer, and she was healing the king, and she suddenly goes missing. And we follow DM as she replaces her mother in taking care of the king in a hostile territory. The Descendants are very hostile towards mortals. Mortals are very poor. The Descendants are very rich, and they hoard all of their riches. DM finds herself wanting to become a part of a riot revolutionary group, and we follow this enemies to lovers romance story of DM versus the Descendant. The next book that I'm going to recommend is a controversial one, but I don't care because I like it. The Crown of Oaths and Curses by J. Bree. This isn't particularly problematic, but book 2 is. And before you read The Crown of Oaths and Curses, you need to read The Sword, which is a prequel novella, and you need to read The Scepter. These are required readings because book 1 doesn't make sense without them, because you're missing a bunch of backstory. In the Crown of Oaths and Curses, we are following our main character, our female main character, who is a witch, and our male main character, who is a fae. And this is a hate to lovers romance. In fact, there's so much hate between the two characters that there's actually no romance whatsoever in the first book. And in the prequel novella, which is required reading, you find out why. The Fae Prince, who is our male main character, his parents are killed when he is a child by witches who break into the Fae Palace. And in retaliation, the Fae go to a random village and they kill all of the witches that are there except for 2. And one of the 2 witches that survived is our female main character. And in order for this kingdom to survive, the 2 of them need to get married. So there is a lot of hate in this book, and our female main character is so well written, and it is so epic by the end of this book. This is unputdownable. And because of this, J. Bree is making this list twice. The third series of books that I'm going to recommend is the Broken Bonds series by J. Bree. Also, the first book is actually called Broken Bonds. In Broken Bonds, this is another enemies to lovers, but this is a reverse harem. And in this world, our main characters have to have sex in order to grow their powers, and they grow their powers in the harem, or the reverse harem in this case, where the more people have sex together, the more powerful they get. And our female main character actually runs away from her group of men, and they hate her for it, and they torture her in the beginning of this because they have no idea why, and she doesn't tell them why. And we follow this journey over 5 books to figure out why she ran away, why she doesn't want to grow her powers, and why she doesn't want to share her powers with the group. This is an epic fantasy romance delight. If you like a reverse harem, then you may like this. This was actually my first reverse harem read, so I wasn't familiar with the category, and I quite enjoyed this. It is very spicy, so it almost got a little overwhelming at points where it's like, okay, again? Like, oh my God. But the spice writing in this is very good. Like, the next book is going to be a Melissa K. Rourke book. This is Lady of Darkness. And for those of you that absolutely die by Throne of Ash and Selena Sardathian is your favorite character in all of fiction, you need to read Lady of Darkness, because the first book is going to be very reminiscent of Throne of Glass. The whole series is not, but the first book is going to be very reminiscent of Throne of Glass, because you have our main female character who is an assassin, who works for an assassin lord. Is this sounding familiar yet? She goes on a secret mission and she has to kill someone who she doesn't even know who it is. She is told that the Fae Prince is responsible for killing her mother and her sister, and she has to find out, and we follow this journey. Obviously the Fae Prince, or the Fire Prince in this book, ends up being our male main character, and we follow their love story. This is brilliantly written. This is some of the smartest character writing that I have ever read on, and the stakes that happen and the trouble that our main characters get in. Melissa K. Rourke has a way of writing that feels so real. It feels like these things could really happen, even though it's in a fantasy world. And it doesn't seem like the main character is invincible and nothing can happen to her. It is the first book is very reminiscent of Sarah J. Maas. Maybe you like that, maybe you don't. It's not a one-for-one copy, because the Lady of Darkness series in general is a great series and it stands on its own, but the first book is very reminiscent of Throne of Glass. A second series by Melissa K. Rourke is the first book is The Reign of Shadow and Endings, and this is from the Legacy series, and this is truly dark fantasy romance. There are scenes of essay in this book, and you are extremely encouraged to check the trigger warnings for this. The base plot of this, however, is we have Fae in this book who were gifted to the Legacy. The Legacy are, in this book, descendants of gods. The Fae are gifted to the Legacy because the Fae are how the Legacy power themselves. And we are following the story of a Fae who gets selected by a Legacy, and she does not want to be selected. And we follow her story of how she is forced in every way possible to bend to the Legacy's will, or the specific Legacy, because she gets chosen not only by a Legacy, but by the biggest, baddest, meanest Legacy of all. And it is intense, it is extreme. And if that is not something that you are okay with, I would not suggest reading this. This is a super duper read. The next thing that I'm going to mention is actually a book in the book series that I DNF'd last year. It was one of two books, that I DNF'd last year. And this is Gild by Raven Kennedy. And the only reason that I'm recommending this is because I'm going to try to reread it. And I will say, my main issue with this book is that our female MC was really kind of brain dead to me. There's so many messed up things that happen to her in the book, and she never realizes, like, this is messed up. Gild by Raven Kennedy. This is a King Midas retelling, and we have our female main character who is selected as a child to be a part of a harem, and she is watching the king have sex with multiple prostitutes, male and female, while the king has gilded her, has turned her into gold, and he's locked her into a cage, and he's had her since she was a child, but he never touches her until she's 16 or so. And there is a lot of essay in this book as well. At the end of the book, there is a lot of essay. He uses her, he shows her off to his friends. He never lets anyone touch her until he does. I'm not recommending this book well, but it's because I DNF'd it. I want to read this series because it is super duper popular. It's called the Plated Prisoner series. I want to be a fan because a lot of people are fans, and a lot of people whose taste that I really mesh with and I really respect their taste really like this book, and I don't see what it is. I'm gonna try to get past the 50% mark and then to speak happily about this. The last book that I'm going to recommend on KU right now as we speak is the Zodiac Academy. I have started reading that this year and I'm completely hooked on it. It is a bully romance, and if you want to read something that is totally cringe, but it is totally good, then you need to pick up this series. This book series single-handedly kept me from going into a reading slump. After reading something that was extremely difficult to get through, the Zodiac Academy really saved me from going into a reading slump. Can't have a reading slump in January. This is a bully romance, so if that's not your thing and you decide for yourself if that's something that you want to get into, because the ending of book 1 is quite intense. We are following a set of twins born in Gemini, and they discover not only that they're rich, but in fact they're lost princesses from a fae kingdom, and they've grown up their entire lives in the mortal realm, and they have no idea that they are fae, and not just fae, not just royalty, but the most powerful fae in the land. And they are taken to the Zodiac Academy, which teaches them to become vicious, mean, power hungry, the classic evil, mean. We really get to explore that. I would almost say if you liked the Holly Black books, then you probably would like this because it's the same kind of vibe, the mean, evil fae. I love Zodiac Academy. I am currently reading book number 5 in their 9-book series, and I 100% recommend this. There are 2 honorable mentions only because I'm not sure if they're in KU everywhere, but I did read these 2 books on KU, and the first honorable mention is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This is a dragon fantasy romance. It's not quite enemies to lovers because our female main character believes that she is the enemy to our male main character, but there is the amnesia trope. So yeah, there's that. When the Moon Hatched is extremely popular, so I'm sure you've already heard about that. The second honorable mention is going to be Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This was one of the best books that I read last year. It is super duper spicy, and the audiobook, especially the graphic audio from Audible, is just mind-blowingly atmospheric and spicy, and I loved this. I hope I recommended something that you guys either have not read or a series that you're continuing on reading. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. And they, not only that they're rich, princesses from a fey kingdom, and they up their entire lives in the mortal realm, and they